Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pike County 4-H Life Skills Virtual Camp Series. Today, our topic is going to be on kitchen cutting skills with Ms. Heather. And I'm glad you're here with us. I want to remind you that on Thursdays in June at 10 and 2 p.m., we have our 4-H Life Skills Series. So make sure you tune in and join us. We would be happy to have you. So I'm going to introduce Miss Heather, who is our FCS agent in Pike County, and she's going to share with us some of the kitchen cutting skills that she feels is essential as life skills for young adults. Here she is.
Hey guys, I'm just going to go ahead and launch a pre-survey for you to take. So take your time and it'll pop up on your screen. Okay, we have a few more questions that need to be answered.
Is everybody seeing the polls up in front of them? If you can, make sure you answer those questions for you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to end the polling and then I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. So let's start out with an icebreaker. If you were stuck on an island, what is one food you would want with you? So just go ahead and drop that in the chat box. Okay, I see watermelon, Dr. Pepper, noodles, tacos. These are all great things. And some of those things require some chopping, right? Especially the watermelon. So we're going to jump into that. So I hope everyone's having a great day. My name is Heather Jackson, and I'm the Pike County Family and Consumer Science Agent. Today we're going to be covering some kitchen cutting skills and safety. Always ask permission from your parents before cutting. So number one we're going to talk about is food safety. So we're going to start with that. Make sure to sanitize your work area first. Then stabilize your cutting board by placing a damp dishcloth underneath it to prevent it from sliding around. And then set up bowls to use for your waste and usable products. So knife safety. We want to be safe when we're chopping, right? Right. How do you hold a chef's knife? Well, you hold the knife with fingers around the handle, like the picture on the right, and the thumb and index finger on the metal of the blade, such as the picture on the left. You can see the finger on the blade and then the thumb in the right picture. Make sure that no fingers are under the blade because that can cause a terrible kitchen accident. So the chef's knife. This is the most important kitchen tool. Did you know it had different parts? So let's check them out. The first one, number one, is a sturdy spine of the blade that can be used to break up small bones or shellfish. Number two is the front of the blade. It is suitable for many cutting jobs. It is particularly useful for chopping onions, mushrooms, garlic, and other small vegetables. 3. The midsection of the blade is remarkably appropriate for either firm or soft food. The gentle curve of the blade is ideal for mincing of leeks, chives, parsley, and more. But caution! Cook's knives purposely have been ground extra thin for the ultimate cutting performance. Chopping through bones will damage the fine edge. For doing this, please refer to another knife, which would be like a cleaver. And there's different types of those. 4 is the weight distribution that's optimal at the heel of the blade, and it is used to chop through extremely firm food objects. And 5 is the wide, flat surface of the blade. It is suitable for flattening and shaping of meat cuts, such as fillets, as well as for lifting of the chopped product. So that's a lot of different things happening with the knife, right? So let's talk about some knife safety. Remember to keep knives sharp because dull knives can be just as dangerous as sharp ones. Don't forget to use a cutting board and always pay attention to what you are doing. Be sure to cut away from yourself and others. If a knife falls from a surface, don't try to catch it. Remember to not leave knives in a sink or the pots and pans areas so others don't get cut by that knife. Don't forget to clean knives carefully with a sharp edge away from you and to store knives in a safe place, not in drawers. If you have an idea of where a safe place would be, you can drop that in the chat box. So normally we store our knives in blocks, like a knife set. They have a wooden block, or sometimes they're plastic looking or acrylic. When carrying a knife from one place to another, carry it beside, hold it beside you with the point down and a sharp edge back and away from you. Don't swing your arm, and let people know that you're walking past them with a knife, especially in a busy kitchen. Now 3, let's get to some of the basic knife cuts and talk about what they are and how to make them. So sometimes we need different knives when we're cooking. A small blade is normally prepared to cut small vegetables and fruit. A knife with a wavy or serrated edge is the right tool for slicing bread, ripe tomatoes, or a crispy roast. A long straight edge is ideal for carving, and the chef's knife is ideal for all food preparations, including mincing, dicing, and slicing. It is sometimes referred to as the manual food processor. So moving on to basic knife cuts, the first one we're going to look at is the Julienne. First, you trim the vegetables so that the sides are straight, making it easier to produce even cuts. Then you'll slice the vegetable lengthwise to get the desired thickness using parallel cuts, and then you stack all the slices together and make even parallel cuts to produce a series of batons, and the finished result is usually a series of batons of 1/8 inch to a 1/8 inch by 1 to 2 inches. So I'm going to share this video with you, get it started, that way you can see how it happens. Did it finish playing? No.
I'm Kelly Senya with Epicurious.com, and this is How to Julienne. To Julienne means to cut your food into thin matchsticks. Because I'm using a larger carrot, the first thing I'm going to do is cut it in half. Trim off the root end of this carrot. Next, we're going to square it off by taking off each of the sides. Any of the scraps left over from squaring off the carrot can be used in a stock. Now I'm going to cut it into planks. You're going to stack about 2 to 3 of them on top of each other. Cut through the planks to form our matchsticks. And there you have it, perfectly julienne carrots, which you can use in stir fries or salads. For more recipes and tips, head over to Epicurious.com.
So I don't know if you noticed or not in the video, but she curled her fingers kind of like this. I don't know if you can see my fingers. She curled them like this so that when she was chopping, she wouldn't accidentally cut her fingers. And that way you hold your hand like that helps prevent you from accidentally cutting your finger. So all the videos that you'll see today, you'll see that technique being used. The next knife cut would be the Bruno. I have a hard time with that word. It's you prepare your vegetables just like you would with julienne, making sure that the sides are straight and easy to produce even cuts. Then you'll slice that vegetable lengthwise into 1/8 inch slices using parallel cuts. Then you'll cut those slices into baton shapes of 1/8 inch wide. And then you'll use a series of another parallel cuts to make cubes. And you'll try to keep them all about 1/8 inch. So let's watch a little video about that. And they're using carrots again.
Our vegetable cut that we're going to do now is a brunoise. So we've got our blocked off carrots, which we've prepared earlier, washed, and we're going to start by slicing them into a julienne. So using our cradle, we're going to take round about 3 mm thick slices, and I'm just crabbing my fingers back just to keep my fingertips out of the way, knife running up and down on my knuckles. We then take our pieces of carrot and cut these again into round about 3 mm strips. So just working through. You can stack them up a little bit if you're comfortable. So into 3 mm pieces. And we'll just do the last 2 there. And then from there, we take the strips and a little pile at a time, even the ends up just by tapping them with the knife, and then to create a 3 mm dice. Just keep them nice and even, lose the end bits. Again, another little stack, just even them up so that you start cutting nice and square and work your way through. And that's our brunoise of carrot.
Wow, he did awesome, didn't he? Those looked great. So let's start with the next cut. This is going to be just small dicing. You're probably familiar with this. It's just preparing the vegetable like you would for a brunoise, almost. This video focuses on onions and how to dice onions in particular, you probably will be cutting more onions in this style, so that's why I picked an onion. So the instructions are a little bit different from what's on the slide, but normally what you do is just turn the vegetables so the sides are straight, making it easy to cut or produce even cuts, and then slicing that vegetable lengthwise into 1/4 inch slices, and then again until you have cubes, but they're 1/4 inch cubes. Let's see how they do this onion.
To peel an onion, the first thing you need is a sharp knife. Take your sharp knife. You want to take the top and the bottom off and slice it through the root end in half. The reason you want to use a sharp knife is you want to avoid bruising the sulfurous compounds in the onion, which is what makes you cry when you're slicing them. So take your onion with the root end facing away. You want to make a couple slices this way, not all the way through, so the onion holds together while you slice it. And then come down on the onion with a few slices the other way. And you can simply slice through it, and the dice falls into beautiful little pieces.
So in that video in particular, he had waste, right? He had the top and the bottom end of the onion and the 2 outer layers. So he put those in his waste bowl. And then the onion that he diced up, he put that in his produce bowl, or his product. Now let's look at some medium dice, just the same thing, except this is going to be potatoes. And it's usually about a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch cube whenever you do a medium dice.
Quick way to prep your potato is just cut it in half. You could make 1 slice across, leave it into larger pieces to roast in the oven. You could make 1 slice this way and a couple of slices this way to cut them into even smaller pieces for a soup, if you like.
So he showed you 2 different ways that are pretty easy to cut potatoes. And then there's a diagonal cut, and a lot of people use this with carrots because it's super easy to cut them in this shape. But it's actually used with Chinese cooking a lot because they like to make their vegetables look really pretty. But this can also be used with other vegetables, and cutting vegetables on the diagonal exposes more of the vegetable surface area to heat. And besides making it cook more quickly, it allows for it to absorb more of the sauces and seasoning it's cooked with. That's another reason why it's used a lot with Chinese cooking. Begin with a peeled carrot and trim the top off at an angle. Use a knife angle as you make thin slices down the length of the carrot. So that was super easy, wasn't it? That was a super easy way to cut carrots and make them look really neat. So now we've covered all of the basic knife cuts except for Chiffonade. And this one's pretty simple, except it's typically used with our leafy vegetables. So you need to wash and dry your vegetables well. If it has any stalks, you need to remove those because we don't want to eat those, right? And you're going to stack and roll those leaves into a cylinder, and then you slice crossway in like 1/8 inch strips, so that makes little ribbon pieces. Let's watch a video on that.
I'm Kelly Senya with Epicurious.com, and this is how to chiffonade. To chiffonade just means to cut your food into long, thin ribbons. Today I'm using basil, and it's important that the basil has been washed and thoroughly dried. I'm going to pluck a few leaves from the plant. You want about 4 or 5. Next, we're going to stack the leaves on top of each other. And then you're going to roll them up tightly. Using your chef's knife, make long, thin cuts. And then separate them into pieces. And it's as simple as that. That's how to chiffonade. For more recipes and tips, head over to epicarious.com.
Well, super easy, wasn't it? She just made it look like a breeze. So you have now seen all of the basic cuts. I want to thank you for stopping by to learn about kitchen cutting techniques. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat box or unmute now and ask them on your mic, or you can even email me later if you would like. And then we'll do a post survey.
You want me to load that, Heather?
Yes.
All right, here comes the post survey. If you all could fill that out for me. And while you're doing that, I'm going to remind everybody about Thursdays in June, 10 and 2 p.m. We have the Pike County 4-H Life Skills Virtual Camp Series. So we'd love for you to join us here. And if you have any questions, those who watch, go ahead and put those in the chat box as well. And we can, there we go, launch the poll. There we go, it's coming your way. If you have any questions for Miss Heather on any of those, go ahead and put those in the chat box. If you want to join us again on Thursday, I am going to stop recording here.
So next Thursday, I will be covering measuring, and we have like measuring cups, and we'll be doing dry and liquid measuring if you're interested.
And also next Thursday will be how to give an animal an injection with one of our 4-Hers, Miss Morgan. So join us.